Here we are, the long-awaited podcast here. So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're watching us from. This is Homa Bay Unplugged, voices from the heart of the lake. And as you know, in each and every episode, we bring you change makers, people who are doing remarkable things across the lake, across the shoreline, globally. And if you haven't subscribed, please like, post, share, subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that this is where it all happens. If you didn't see it at Homa Bay Unplugged, you didn't see it anywhere else. And today we have an amazing change maker from the heart of the lake, the capital city, among the capital cities of Kenya, Kisumu, the United Kingdom, UK. UK, Kisumu, Dala. We have Mohan, who is like he's wealthy. He has an extensive wealth of wisdom, and today we'll just soak in his wisdom, his creative journey, his creative aspects. And as you see, this episode is proudly sponsored by Lonely Bookstore. So today is just all about books, banter, fun, and awesome vibes. So Mohan, take us. Mohan is like the name you're given?
Yeah. Mohan Mohan is my name.
Yeah.
So my official government names are Akal Mohan.
Yeah.
Akal surname, and then Mohan is my name.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a story of how I got to be named Mohan.
Yeah.
And the story is, so it's 97 on 20th of February.
Yeah.
1997, I've already said so.
Yeah.
And my mom is at Pumwani Hospital in Nairobi. She's giving birth to me.
Yeah.
It's the whole family is kind of in a frenzy because I think my dad was out of town. So a cousin to my mom walks into the maternity room or ward.
Yeah.
And then as he's just walking, there's I think a soap opera that is ending.
Yeah.
And you know like how cast names go through the screen.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happens, but then he just looks up on the screen and sees Mohan.
Yeah.
And then that's how I get the name Mohan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, that's so unique. So they didn't even tell you what Mohan means, or
you know what, like I actually haven't Googled or searched much on what the name Mohan is.
Yeah.
I know the story though.
Yeah.
But again, it's because I don't know about you, but me and my mom, we never have such conversations. Like it's always like, oh, hi and bye, getting to know one another, how we are faring on. It's sort of out of bounds, though unspoken.
And did she say where? Did you eventually get to know what the particular soap opera was?
No, but for a very long time, I've always assumed it's The Bold and the Beautiful, because again and around the time, because she says it was the period between 1 and 2, not 12 and 1.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because growing up, the years of my childhood, the popular soap opera was The Bold and the Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I convinced myself that it's The Bold and the Beautiful.
Yeah.
That might be a lie, but it's a lie that I'm making a truth. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll actually eventually get to check it out. So their bringing was like just always in Nairobi.
Yeah. I grew up in Nairobi.
Yeah.
Up until standard 5.
Yeah.
Then my dad decided to take me to a boarding school. So I went to a boarding school somewhere around South Nyanza, in a place called Kindu Bay Adventist Hospital. There's a school there called Ruby Craft. We are Adventists from home. So again, with our schooling and Adventism, there's a way we get groomed and there's a way we also get indoctrinated. It's kind of a cult, I dare say so, just because I'm at that point in life, I'm interrogating a lot of what faith is. But like growing up Adventist and him being of a generation that he was in, I think the boomers, so he takes me to this boarding school and So what happens is I'm in boarding school over any break, half term, or school holidays, I traveled back to Nairobi.
Yeah.
And that happens until he passes on. So,
Yeah.
me so I'm tired, but again,
Yeah.
like I've lost kind of touch with that. Yeah.
So what brought that rift between now, maybe as now you're growing up, you get to know, Manze, this is not what I was, I wanted to aspire to have and do in terms of, like, you're talking about the Adventism. Like, what was that rift? Yeah.
That comes way back. I mean, way later.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's funny because even right now, a lot of what is on my playlist is still the Adventist music.
Yeah.
Kind of even the way I live my life.
Yeah.
Parts of me that are conservative are mostly informed by the Adventist indoctrination.
Yeah.
But then what happens is something happens tragically, and then I don't think I would want to disclose that.
Yeah.
But there's just a turning point that happens in my life, and then I start thinking back, sitting back and like looking through. Oh, so it's just like trying to engage and interrogate what I was taught.
Yeah.
And then again, you see, like being around and also getting into reading and being a creative.
Yeah.
It's given me somewhat a competence to kind of critique faith, to critique organized religion. But before even getting to like an intellectual place where I can now start interrogating all these concepts of concepts taught by Adventism, I also just I'm an observer of societies.
Yeah.
I describe myself as an Imagineer as well.
Yeah.
So reading and looking around and seeing the stories that have harmed people just because of the faith and because of religion.
Yeah.
It's that kind of becomes my genesis in terms of like trying to push back and see clearly. But at the base of it is just I feel like in a very slight way I'm competent enough to start criticizing faith, to start criticizing Adventism particularly. Yeah, so that is just how I got to that point where I started thinking, actually, this might not be meant for me.
Yeah.
But not to say that I don't engage with it. I still do engage with it. I consume their sermons, I listen to their music, but I just don't hold it dear to heart as I used to. And I also just like don't live by the guiding principles of that church. And that has also like translated in how I look at sin and how I kind of define or rather redefine transgression for me. As long as I'm doing something that doesn't affect my guilt, then I don't think of it as me being sinful, which is very much on contradiction and on the contrary from what the Adventist church teaches. The Adventist church, at least in my brief understanding, and this is a blanket statement, affords any believer of that particular denomination, of that particular faith, that the consequence of life only ends in two ways. And both of them are eternal. That is either hell, which the promise in it, which is the promise in the scriptures, is that you're going to have like an everlasting life. The other eternity is that if you don't do right, then you're going to hell, and that hell is of an eternal fire. So, and me right now, I'm just thinking, and this again, it's something that came to mind. It's not an original thought. When a writer friend, there's a book of his that I've seen here, was telling me, why are we so obsessed about heaven? Why are we so obsessed about going to hell? Where were we before we became human? So his argument basically, and I'm not phrasing it the way he did phrase it, but his argument is that we weren't anything before life. We are therefore nothing after life. And so it's kind of like looking at such thoughts and hearing from others who've stepped out of faith and trying to think, actually, like, let me engage with this idea more and more and more. So I'm still unpacking it, I'm still layering it out, but as of the moment, I'm not active in the church. So I'd rather define my faith as a bit agnostic. Yeah, but I'm not of that class again. You know, that school of thought that I'm not religious, I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. For me, it's just that I'm agnostic, and maybe I might come back or I might not.
Yeah.
But it's not about church.
Awesome. It's amazing. That's such a better way and a greater way to start, because I always believe that you're all spiritual beings. There's an amazing pastor, I like his teaching. He's called Pastor M. He's like the owner and the founder of Mavuno Church. So there was one analogy that he was giving that like you'll never see like a group of elephants or a group of lions or a group of any other generational beings like congregating or worship or just aspiring to a higher being. But for humans, like you'll see Christians, you'll see Muslims, you'll see people that I don't believe in religion, I don't do this, but there are always that call for like a higher calling. That's why you go to India, you'll have like, they have like 1,000,001 gods. Like they just always that spiritual sense that draws someone to just something that's always like higher than them. So that's why you see, like you're even talking about cultism, you'll see just a group of people congregating, and then these people do like great harm. Even like those people who I saw like a couple of years back that happened in Uganda, like people indoctrinated, and then they were told this is like the end of the world. Then they closed themselves in a room, and then they burnt themselves because they just wanted to go to heaven like that. Or even what happened to like Shakahola and things like this, just things with like humans that you don't even understand. Like, and then you find even 3/4 of these people, they are crazily elite. Yeah, so you're like, you guy, why are you indoctrinated in these things, and then you get to do all those other crazy things? So it's also like a human form of like, in as much as I'll aspire to a higher being, or I don't aspire to a higher being, or this is where I am. So there's just always that man void that has that spiritual connection to.
True what you're saying, Emmanuel, because you know, one thing that is very apparent, whether I want to agree to it or not, and whether all these people who are not theists want to agree to it or not, there's definitely something that controls our lives outside of ourselves, right? The struggle is wanting to kind of clarify what that thing is to you. Whenever I have theological conversations with people who are still in the church or people who are stepping outside of church, my question is always like a very straightforward and a simple one, but at the same time I assume it's complex. What's like your introduction to God? And once that becomes kind of like a foundation of this composite that you're building with your spiritual life, then you start understanding that, you know, for example, for myself, God was introduced to me as a provider, right? Despite, so for example, like where I went to school, the entire Rubycraft, where I went to school, like the entire village, the entire place was kind of Adventism. So there's some who are by default birthed to that, right? But then growing up and looking back and dotting my story, I sort of like realized my introduction to God was that he was a provider. And so anything that provides could easily be God to me. And that's why I'm saying it's very significant to kind of like clarify what this thing that controls your life beyond you is. But I don't know whether you've thought about it as well. It's a podcast, so I could as well ask you this. The acknowledgement of whether there's a God or not, does it add salt to our lives? That's something that I struggle with, and adding salt is not in a very, it's just like literally in it, like what difference does that create in our lives by you just acknowledging that there's a God or not? And that's why I'm so much into creativity, and that's why I'm always looking into the possibility of art. because it allows you understand like parts of you which are very spiritual. You see, like the void you're talking about. Guys will tell you that when they're sad, they'll paint, they'll write, they'll sing. Others will tell you when they're happy, they'll write, they'll paint, they'll sing. Great art has been produced in times of turbulence. Great art has been produced when the heart is troubled, and that should like, so I don't see any problem in me privately proclaiming that the artists I look up to are my gods, because the provision they offer kind of fulfills my spiritual self, the void you are talking about. That's a problematic proclamation, and that's why I do it in my privacy. But publicly, it's just in understanding that society has kind of threads in which it operates in. And so I'll respect your God. I might want to dissociate with the God you claim to have and the God you claim to describe. But overall, it's just in understanding that we are more spiritual than we are flesh. Like even this conversation,
for sure,
is happening because on a spiritual level, we at least
there's that connection.
There's an entanglement in our spiritual selves. So the flesh is barely anything to humans. You could start a full-blown relationship with somebody you've never met, and that's just because your spirit is in conversation with theirs, and at times it's in tune as well.
For sure. It truly happens, because even like in the Bible, because it says like we are created in the image of God. So as God is who we are. And then that's not to negate that we are like gods, but we're also gods in like our own way, in terms of even creativity. Even if you look at the story of creation, that the first day this happened, the second day the same word, and then it's like all artistic. Because you see, like if you want to know the life of an artist or the curves that an artist takes, just look at the story of creation and how it like all happened. Like it's all artistic in itself, how kingdoms were built, how societies were built. Like it's all in art, and it's all just basically related. Even in terms of, you're saying that it always comes from within, it's just always spiritual, it's always like an inspiration. Like there are some kinds of music that you listen to and you're just in tune. There are music that you listen to and then you just repel, and then you're like, what draws you in, or what drives you, what drives you out, or like what is it that maybe, let's say like a worship leader will come sing and then everyone hands in the air, or maybe a secular artist starts singing and then everyone goes on a frenzy, and then someone comes in and everyone walks out of stage. Like it's just always that spiritual connection that drives us and moves us and just makes us be like who we are. So moving in from like primary and then going to like boarding school, how did that shape your worldview and perspective, and how you move through things?
Okay, so I'll respond to it this way. There's a poet who I'm currently reading. She's a Kenyan poet called Michelle Kayangwenyi. And how she goes about, she's a page poet, how she goes about her writing, and the provocations she kind of like pushes us to think about in her writing is kind of like in the nexus between art and science. She's a trained scientist. And right now she has this collective experiment that she has published on her website. And she basically talks about like, okay, so the argument in the collection is on repetition, patterns, and instructions, right? So she's looking at how the accuracy and lack of accuracy for science is mostly based on like repetition and patterns, and at times instructions, but at the same time she's again like arguing on how life is mostly art, right? like even sorry to bring this up, but like even God himself, you look at, if okay, let's just say the creator, right?
Yeah.
You look at how superb humans are, how superb and splendid creation is.
Yeah.
And it's more than science. It has to be like to have a level of art.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm bringing that up is because you're asking about like my transition from primary school to this boarding school, and how it kind of informed and still informs my worldview and perspectives. So how I mostly look at my life is on patterns. And this comes before even reading this collection I'm talking about. So I know there's always going to be a place where I have to repeat before I succeed.
Yes. Even like there are 1,000 hours of work, like you have to do something repeatedly for you to be like a master.
Yeah. And then I've always been a bit known, a bit popular around my circle, right?
Yeah.
And the popularity is not out of any other thing other than performance.
Yeah.
So there's the repetition, and then goes into like popularity, or people just always know me in a way. And that became the case until well into my adulthood. And why it's not the case, like why I'm constantly trying to oppress that popularity for me, is because it's a different kind of aspiration. The aspiration I have right now, it's very different from what I had back then. So right now it's like just produce, and don't worry about being known, and don't worry about like anyone ever talking about your name. So looking at repetition, popularity, so that popularity is always mostly propelled by excellence, like just performing. And that's how my perspective is mostly confined or really limited into these two concepts. I'm still again like looking at them, and like just constantly sitting back and trying to read and ask myself, okay, so what's the pattern? What's the pattern here? What's the pattern here? And then always looking back and hoping and crossing fingers that this time round I don't get to like popularity, because again I'm seeing how the world deals with popular people. And again, the popularity, it's not that type and everybody knows, you know, it's not that, like it's just that type of, your circle is always like, oh, there's a Mohan, there's a Mohan. Right now I aspire mostly to like just being unseen. Invisible. But if you ask about how that transition shaped, because again, like I get into this new school, the boarding school I'm telling you about, and in the first term I'm elected a hostel prefect. In the second term, third term, new elections are happening. I'm made an assistant head boy. The following year I'm made the head boy, and it's just like, I go into high school, kind of the same thing. Get into uni, kind of the same thing. But then like something happens again, and I'm just like, no, now this time round I'm not even resurfacing, like I'm not coming up again. I'd rather just like be in the shadows.
Oh, nice. So you're always like a born leader in all these stages of life. Like you're just always taking leadership roles in terms of...
I wouldn't say like taking leadership roles. It's being pushed to take those leadership roles. And the pushing, it's not in the coercive sense. It's in the sense of, you can do it. You see, like guys around you are seeing that you can do it. So the call is always on me to either accept or deny.
Are there particular things that they saw in terms of like your work, how you're relating to them, or like what was that thing that you can clearly say, actually it was because of me like writing, it was me being like an intellectual, was it because of books? Like what was the main push for them to just always push you to take these roles?
I wouldn't talk for them. But what I know is I've always obsessed not obsessed is not the word, but I've always like wanted to be I've always wanted to like speak well, like just articulate myself. I fail at it most times, but that articulation, and again, like you understand this whole thing about people always assuming that if you can weave a sentence and it makes sense and you're articulate, throw in a few vocabularies in there, then the assumption is, oh, that's a smart one. Give him leadership. So that, and this I remember one instance. I was in high school and I'd just moved into this school. And so we had a class assembly. And so me, I go forward. Guys have made their comments. Me, I go forward and I'm saying, hey, 1, 2, 1, 2, da da da. And then after the class assembly one, a guy walks up to me and he's like, but they like sounded so well during the nini. We would want you to be our class prefect. But over time, people are debunking that. Like guys are saying that you could have the baddest, the worst accent, but be still the smartest in the room. So looking at it right now with the privilege of hindsight, it was always the assumption that he can articulate himself. Let him take this position.
This role.
Amazing.
And then your relationship with books, was it from that an early age, or it's something that came across?
Yesterday night I was listening to a podcast, a different podcast with this Kenyan writer who I really admire. It's called Kari Baraka. And he was just I have to plug these. If you don't know about Kari Baraka, please check him out, and anything. Start with reading. There's a profile he did for the recently deceased Ngugi wa Thiong'o. I think it's on the Guardian. I think it's titled Spending 3 Days with the Giant of African Literature. That could be a great place to start. And so he was just sharing how when he was growing up, his mom, I think, was a high school teacher, and anytime they would go to the school, he would go to the library. And he was mentioning how he read and read and read. I was just like, man, if only. But to what you're asking, me in my childhood, I think the only thing I remember, and childhood this is in primary school. The only thing I remember reading was Gifted Hands and Think Big by Ben Carson. And part of it is because Ben Carson, I don't know whether you know this, but Ben Carson is an Adventist himself, right? So our library, the Adventist school I went to had copies of that. And then I was always an eavesdropper. So when my other siblings will be making noise and my dad will be fighting them to, keep quiet, he's listening to the news bulletin, those conversations, which politician, I would always just want to listen in. And then over time, I could see how people communicate, how people pass their thoughts, pass on their thoughts, and also how the interviewers ask questions. And for me, it was just always conversations. They elate me in a way that I can't express, right? And so now the struggle was, how do I sound smart as Nani? How do I sound smart like Manuel? Or how do I sound smart like maybe Larry Mado? Again, that mind, And then, but still books are inaccessible. The only thing that my dad comes home with are newspapers. So I will read newspapers, especially opinions and columns. The opinion columns and the featured stories. I will read them like aggressively. Underline, get to know which word, get to know which columnist to look forward to. Go through, get to high school. So
and
now
then at this time, who are your favorite columnists in the newspapers?
So I think one who up to date I still read him.
Yeah.
It's called Oyungapala.
Oyungapala, yes, yeah.
Yeah. I used to read Oyungapala a lot. And maybe his content, it's not like I was even resonating with his content. It was just like I enjoyed this, how he structured his sentences and how mostly captured the male body, especially the urban man's body, right? Because that was his niche. And then, which other names, man? Can I even remember? I think I want to dare say a writer like Raznawara. I will read her. Around this time, I don't know when the Nairobian came, but around this time there's also the Nairobian, which was a weekly magazine, a wing of the Standard. I also started reading that, and I remember now this is my introduction to reading the self-help, self-motivation kind of literature. There was this Congolese writer, it's called, I think Pepe Minambo, somebody. I will read him, and then the late Rev Alan Kiuna, I will also read them. Yeah, so just like still forming, still knowing which literature. So around that time, I think I wasn't reading like stories per se. I was mostly reading motivations, inspirations kind of literature.
Hey, that's really interesting and like just well versed. So now getting into campus, you're still into like literature. What was like your form of art? Like, were you into games or just like the bookworm and just leading people?
Oh, okay. So let me just say this quick. So in high school, we only had one day for rice and beans, and that was on a Friday lunchtime, like our Friday lunchtime. And so what would happen is, it was always like the food we were given was always small. The portion we were given was always small. So what I will do as get served and then have a peseta. So there were these books called pesetas. So I will read these pesetas as I eat. Mostly because I do want to finish the food quick. So also that also enhanced my reading. But at that time, guys are just gassing me up that you can write. You can write. I'm not thinking much about it, but I'm just like, maybe I could try. And then you asked about like how I was expressing myself.
In form of art.
Oh, there wasn't like anything solid. I was just like, those writers, those people who fancy the word writer, and so like I will just go around saying, oh, I'm a writer, but not actually do the work or put in the work.
So being in identity school, like were there scenarios whereby, like how was entertainment like?
Oh, so in our primary school there wasn't entertainment. I went to an Adventist school only for primary. For high school, high school, I think the school I went to was sponsored by an Anglican church.
So entertainment and
entertainment was there.
So you're just mostly into just write, do all that. So you're not into performance like music festivals?
No, because again the thing is like these people are not doing well in school. Like that's the notion that you get into drama first, you won't perform. So the only curriculum activity that I was doing in high school was basketball. But even in that I wasn't giving it my all, because for me it was just like, no, I have to maintain my grades. But had somebody told me that you could still balance these things out and still like you could still do the extracurricular activities at a high level and also come back to class and perform well, I would have tried.
And then at this time, how was the relationship with like your siblings, your folks, like throughout this entire journey?
So it's a crazy one. I lost my dad while I was still in primary. So after losing him, I started like living house to house, like this guy, you're in this house today, or this holiday, and then the next elsewhere. So what that did is it sort of like brought in an inevitable, I say it's inevitable because it was to happen eventually, disintegration between myself and my siblings and my mom. Because, you know, I just see them as family, but there isn't anything that binds us more than, like, apart from blood, right? So, to answer you, we weren't just close, just because of that. Because I wasn't like, we never shared a roof for a very long time.
And then now getting into campus?
It's a crazy one because so what happened is again, just this thing about wanting to sound smart, wanting to always sound smart. So I got into reading I don't think I used to read around that time. So what used to happen is I got to know about these blogs, you know, the Bikozulus, the Magunga. I was just looking for materials to read. Read them aggressively. Like if I say I read them aggressively, it will mean that I will pirate them from the website, go print them out, and the floor in my room, it was always just like papers tattered there, you know, like sheaves and sheaves of papers. Because I'm reading, like I just want to read and like know, okay, what's happening. Great bloggers, the Silas Nyanchwani, like I don't know. So getting into that now, just like, okay, so by then I'm not getting any money, so obviously I can't buy books. But what I will do is any hustle I get, I will print out these materials and then like read. And it wasn't just that reading of I'm just reading. It's the reading of I want to sound smart like this guy. I want to sound smart like this guy. So that just like made me pay much more attention. Subconsciously, what that was doing to me is it started making me like question a lot. Before that, I was always like into stories, listening and eavesdropping. But then this reading now gave me language to start questioning properly, right? So, like, before that, I would know that it's wrong to beat a woman, for example, or like, it's wrong to like force yourself on women, right? But then, like, reading kind of what it was doing subconsciously, and I wasn't like understanding it until maybe years after. It was giving me a language to engage with some of these like concepts, some of these vices and virtues, whatever. So like I had to pay much more attention. I would write on what I was reading, underline what was making sense. And then when talking, these words will just come and somebody will start. I will start using them, and then making any sense.
Yes, it does. And then now, how is your journey transitioning now to doing this and getting into journalism, and then doing documentaries, and then now we'll now go back to now books and more books.
I haven't done like proper documentary, and I also haven't practiced like proper journalism. What was the question again?
Just the journey to doing journalism, documentaries. Now, how did you even get to Kampala, stay there for the period of time, and then coming back?
So in Kampala, I was working for somebody as public relations, in his public relations department. He was this sole proprietor whose business was kind of shoddy, but I didn't know by the time I was getting into his premises, right? And so I was mostly in charge of his communications. And then the pay was okay. But then over time I started like, what is happening here? Which business do these people do here? Only to later realize that he was doing some Ponzi scheme, right? And so after understanding that he was doing a Ponzi scheme, my conscience wasn't like letting me see it, so I wanted to quit this work.
Yeah.
But on the side, this guy used to like assault. Like I would see how he would behave with female colleagues.
Yeah.
So one time, our colleague goes into his office. He calls the colleague into his office, and the colleague comes back crying, crying, not the ugly type, but we can see her eyes are red, and she's overwhelmed. And so we ask, what's up, what has happened? And then she shares that this guy tried forcing himself on her, and so she's quitting. So me, what do I do? Like me, I'm just like, first of all, this work is stressing me out. What you're doing, I don't agree with it. And honestly, like getting to that place, I didn't know. It was just a call out. Are you a writer? Are you this? Are you this? Come, right?
So like, how did you get to? Like what are you currently doing in Nairobi, and then how did you get to?
No, by then I'd moved to Kampala. For Kampala, the reason I'd moved to UG, I had a mental breakdown in Nairobi. It's a story I don't want to talk about, but I had a mental breakdown in Nairobi. Got admitted to a psychiatrist institution, and then so what I wanted to do was just like change the environment completely. So one day just woke up, went to Busia first, was homeless for a couple of months, and then crossed over to UG. And all these, there was a hand of a well-wisher who just like made me go to Uganda, right? So I get there, I'm just like doing manual jobs, like just hustling to, the goal is let me rebuild my life, and then maybe I could come back to Kenya and pick up where I was, or where I'd left. Anyway, so these years pass, I think a year, COVID, whatever, and then now the call out comes. One Kenyan who's in Uganda sends me a post, and she's like, apply for this, you're a writer, so you know this, So me, I apply. They call us for an interview, and I think the place it's somewhere in Bugolobi. We do the interview, I qualify, start working. And I still don't know what is happening in this place, right? But they're like, it's a startup, we want to, all these, they're giving me vocabs and I'm falling for it. So we start working, and I think by the end of month 1, I realize, wait, this is what is happening here. I talked to a mentor, and she's like, yeah, you should leave. And so me, I'm just like, well, let me just get this month's salary, because the pay was really good, and then I'll leave. So as I'm waiting for this salary, the month in which I'm waiting for this salary is where the story now comes in. The lady goes to the office, comes back crying, and then she says she's quitting. So as she's saying this, I think we only left with a couple of days, and the salary comes in, and then me, I'm out. I'm just like, no, I'm so disturbed. I can't keep on going. So in solidarity with her, me, I quit. I quit working there.
So they didn't even give you like half pay or?
No. So I just quit. So we weren't even on contract. I think it was the probation period. So as I'm quitting, I decide to like write a message, and I highlight why I'm quitting. So in the message, I send it in the message, I say everything, and I'm just like, no, we can't see it, and in solidarity with this person, me, I'm quitting. So when I quit, I start getting phone calls, and they're like, oh, from colleagues, they're like, what have you done? The boss is looking for you. What have you done? The boss is looking for you. well, I knew this guy was dangerous because of like how he was moving and always his threats.
Yeah.
But again, I was just like, no, me, I'm standing for what I believe in.
So you posted it on the
WhatsApp group, like I was just
for the work.
yeah, because you know the funny thing is, that day when this lady had come from the office, we all as a team agreed that no, we can't keep being here if this is happening.
Yeah.
You know, just that mob psyching.
Yes.
Kumbe these guys, them, they weren't as disturbed as I was.
Yeah.
So may make this move, and it's kind of like trying to, you know, entice them to like see sense.
Yeah.
Not really like kind of, what's the word when you're trying to, what's the word? I'm not pushing them to like make an action, but like I'm allowing them see the sense.
Yes.
So anyway, that happens. This guy, eventually how the story goes, this guy uses some shady police officers, and they come. I'm taken to the maximum prison in Uganda. And I spend about 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah. So the reason I'm bringing this up is to explain how I got into like a bit of journalism, right? So as I'm doing this, the Kenyans in Uganda start like, you know, pushing for my release, and they approach the human rights defenders in UG. They come do for me the case as you know, like as legal aid. And as I'm out, there's a fellowship by this organization that is calling on like young storytellers, young emerging storytellers from UG or like really based in Uganda to apply for it. I don't have the papers. I didn't do like journalism properly. But I'm just like, let me apply. I apply, and what like gives me a standout and like makes me qualify is just sharing that story. So I go sit down with an amazing guy. He's called Abbas Mpindi. He was even like a Barack Obama fellow. I tell him this, and they're just like, we would want like storytellers who dare like you. So I get the fellowship, and that becomes like my brief stint in journalism.
How was it? Because there are two aspects that I need you to maybe highlight even at most briefly, like being homeless in Busia and then now spending life in prison in Uganda. Like how are those? How was it?
I mean, those are just like, and again, these are not stories like we talk about to attract sympathy. If anything, one of the maxims I live by right now is I don't really trust pity and sympathy. And sympathy. Life comes, knocks you pick up yourself, or you stay down, right? I'm just saying that because you asked about my journey, so that's part of my journey. How is it? I don't know. It's given me, and coming back to what I was telling you, that it's kind of like twisted the ambitions and aspirations I always had, and also like constantly, actively trying not to repeat those patterns we talked about like earlier on. You remember the repetition and then like the popularity, because that has made me always just want to be invisible in spaces. Because then one thing I got to realize is the more you become visible, the more popular and the more talked about you are. Your failure is always like in the faces of people. So part of the reason, maybe it's not the right way to go about it, part of the reason as to why I'm actively like chasing for invisibility and the unseeness is just so that it allows me and gives me the room to always fail and fail properly.
So like in this cause, I think why I asked about it is like one of our friends were in Kampala, was arrested, and then he was just taken to the police station, and then he was there for a week. You guy, I was like, I've never seen such a scenario even in Central Police Station, yani. like Uganda is just on another level, and then you are now telling me like a maximum Ugandan prison you guys.
Luzira.
Luzira is, because I've even seen documentaries about it. See, there's even this guy who visits prison, like he does documentaries, the world most dangerous prisons.
Yeah.
There's one he did in Luzira. I was like, you guy.
Like I think I was I don't know who I was telling this.
Yeah.
And the person like from the other end of the call was just like, hey, Uganda seems to be like, what was the word? Like a country that frightens you. I don't know the exact word, but he was trying to imply that like Uganda just seems that country that like makes you so afraid of living.
Yeah.
There were things that happened in between, like for example, the Kenyan community looking for me, and they're being told one thing when the other thing is happening.
Yeah.
But even eventually, like how the entire thing was fabricated, and like all that's part of the reason as to why I understand the power of propaganda, and this is on a large scale, you know, how propaganda can always just like guard the truth, and how propaganda can impose lie to a truth. These are all subjects that I'm interested in. But just seeing like a single story, my story, you know, like that time in prison, how it becomes contorted, and like it becomes a different thing over what actually happened. And even the people who are lying, like they know this is what happened, you know. So right now it's given me more sight whenever I consume news and whenever I look at accusations and allegations. I'm always just like, there must be an underlying story in these which we are not being allowed to see.
And then at this moment, like what was your push through, like what was your hope, or what was your view line like during these 2 months?
So no, like me, I was around this time, by the way, I was very busy at the Luzira library, the maximum prisons library. What I was doing is like mostly reading. Because again, the thing is, my guys even back here didn't know where I was. You know, so it's kind of like, and again for international calls, those the prison wardens were like very stern on it. I couldn't make a call unless I top up to their phones. And I don't have money. So it was crazy. Though the surety for me, like the surety was like, I was so sure that this guy wouldn't come to whatever court. So it's just like, oh, this is a case that will eventually be dismissed. Point and problem was, how long was it going to take before it gets dismissed?
So like, how did you, like, how was like your day-to-day thing? Like, how did you get to move? Like, you're like, this day one gone, day two gone, man. I can be here for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, years. Like, what is that hope that you're holding on to, that you guys, this thing will eventually end?
Question becomes, what was I to do, Manu? Hope was the only thing. And you're in a prison cell, or really a prison ward room, with people who are there up to 2032, people who are there up to 2040, and they're living. Like, life is going on.
Life is,
me, I'm here, and I know that my case, the proceedings will go maybe 7-8 months, and then I'll be out. It wasn't easy, but again, what was I to do? It's interesting. Just a couple of days, I was talking to a friend who I just met, I think 2 weeks ago, and he's this queer man who's also a pastor, who is forming his beliefs. He's just a lot of things. But also in his kind of old age, I think 64. And I don't know how we got to it, but we were asking ourselves, what's the function of hope in the human story? What's the function of hope in the human story? Maybe it's the only anchor we have.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So now you got this job, the one that you applied for, immediately, like you're out of prison, you make the application, and then you're successful.
It was a fellowship, like, so it was mostly like, you know, you tell stories, but at the same time, like, learn through that process on how to tell stories.
Still in Uganda.
Yeah, still in Uganda.
It was for how long?
It went for about a year. But by this time, my spirit, this voice was constantly nudging me that you need to come back to Kenya. So I eventually had to heed.
So you finished the fellowship, then you come back, or you?
I finished the fellowship, but around this time also, I'm thinking about like being a serious creative writer, like being a serious writer. And so it's, with these savings, the money I'm getting, I'll put it aside, go back to Kenya, rent in a small village, a place where I can just like wake up, read, write, starve as I wait for my death. So like it's kind of just like it's kind of like again, these are perspectives that form after experiences. You know, like if there's only assured wealth that no man should joke with, is the wealth of experience, because then it's just like once you've gone through it, something in you changes. I mean, there's always a revolt to change. But once you give into it, then you start like looking for beauty in the ashes. And ashes doesn't mean that it's tragedy. It could even be like just success. Still, you start looking for beauty in success. There are people who've been damaged and destroyed by success. So it's just kind of like, okay, we're in this stage. How do we either advance or retard or stay constant? So it's just like playing along those lines. So that was really the goal. The year ends, the fellowship ends. I'm moving back to Kenya. I don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm going to do in terms of like making money. But I just decided I'm coming back and I'll be writing and telling stories.
So you eventually came back and then you settled in Nairobi, or? No,
I just came, settled in a place I'd never lived, I'd never been to. It's a place called Luanda in Vihiga. So crossed over to Busia, Kenya, from Busia, Uganda. Took a bus, got there, looked around, got a house, started life. But all through I was just like, I'm coming back. Read, write, write.
And then, so by the time you're writing, where were you, like publishing the articles, or?
So like by then I had not even like been published. Like published by a serious magazine. By then I was just, getting published, but like with these small magazines, which mostly weren't even paying. But I was so committed to like this passion. I keep saying that if there's an ultimate failure for me, is if I get to go, or like if my life ends and I'm not remembered as a writer. Like that's really just, I'm so much into this passion. I really love this thing. So it's kind of like, even coming back, I was just like, I'm going to give it my all, whether it pays or not. I'm not so much in it for the money. I'm just in it for the fulfillment it affords me.
So now that happened, you did it for like how long?
Just a couple of months, and then just a couple of months, and then I got something else to like do, and that was sell books now, which is again in line with the aspiration I have for myself.
So that was now from Vihiga to Kisumu now?
From Vihiga to Kisumu. Before then I'd been working for the owner of Lolwe as so Troy, who's the owner of Lolwe, has has a magazine.
Yeah.
It's also called Lolwe.
Yeah.
So I'd been coordinating. So Lolwe, there's Lolwe magazine, there's Lolwe bookstore,
Yeah.
and then there's Lolwe Academy. So the academy is a virtual academy that teaches writing, generally creative writing.
Yeah.
So I'd been assisting in coordinating classes, always in touch with teachers who are writers, established writers, with emerging writers. So I was doing that for him.
Yeah.
And then when I moved back to Kenya, I think he was looking to expand his Lolwe bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah, so having already known him from the magazine, the academy, he just asked if I could help in working at the bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now we are here now.
Yeah, now we're here.
Awesome, awesome. So are there now like published works, things like
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
I'm always very careful in like defining or calling myself a writer. Not for any other reason, but just because I understand that my writing is not where I want it to be.
Yeah.
I put in the work. Every day I put in the work. I read, I think, I question, I write.
Yeah.
So, but I have work out. Right now, the form I'm mostly interested in is the essay. Because it allows me to look, creative nonfiction that is, it allows me to look at facts and present them in a way that is exciting, in a way that is, it reads like a story, not like just this abstract history. So I've been thinking more and more about Kenya, but also narrowing it down to more and more about Kisumu. And so I'm engaging with the Kisumu imagination. I'm looking at Kisumu as this canvas and looking at the context, and then trying to intellectually write about it. But as think about it as well. So it's kind of imagining this place, which is Kisumu. The language of Kisumu, not like the tribal language, but the creative language of Kisumu. And at the same time thinking of how to export that, but at the same time write for Kisumu.
Amazing, amazing. I think we'll expand more of that in just a bit. And as you know, this is Homa Bay Unplugged, voices from the heart of the lake, and we're just always about lake stories, lake vibes, and wherever you are across the world, across the globe, that's your lake story. That's your Homa Bay Unplugged, and that's why you are here, that you are doing these great things. And as you know, we are at Lolwe Bookstore. This is where the magic is happening for today. So as you expand on that, tell us a bit more about like your lake story, and then as you expand, and then you also just explain to us about masculinity and what you think about masculinity and what it entails. But first, your lake story.
Do I even have like a lake story?
What drives you at the lake? Like why Kisumu?
Okay, why Kisumu?
Yeah.
So how I got to Kisumu, I'm not originally from Kisumu, but how I got to Kisumu. So you remember I told you that after my dad passed on, I had to like be living with people. So one of the foster parents who took me in were people from Kisumu. And I remember the first time traveling to Kisumu, I got to the stage and I didn't know anyone. I didn't know except for these guys. You know? And so but I'd heard about Kondele. I'd heard about like Dunga. I knew about Kisumu Boys, which is a high school. I knew about Kisumu Girls, which is a high school as well. I knew that I had to pass through Kisumu to go to Maseno. So what draws me to Kisumu? I think, and looking at it right now in a very intellectual capacity, there's something substantial and very tangible about Kisumu as a city.
Yeah.
And I know this could kind of dispute what a writer I adore called Tejukol talks about cities. He says, I'll try rephrase, that in the examination of cities, in the studying of cities, if you try relinquish all the exaggerations, you get to know that all like subtleties are always the same, you know. So what he means by subtleties is that the life process of cities are kind of the same. And there's an essay I worked on a couple of months ago, and I was just like looking at what a city is. And there's chaos in Kisumu, there's chaos in Kampala, there's chaos in Jinja, there's chaos in Eldoret, there's chaos in Nairobi. What varies is the degree of the chaos, right? There's quickness in Kisumu, quickness in Jinja, quickness in Kampala, quickness in Eldoret. What varies again is the degree of those quicknesses, right? There's messiness across all cities. And those are the subtleties he's talking about. So once you start putting aside like the exaggeration of that, and what he means by the exaggeration is like the degrees of those, you know, the things that happen in cities, you get to realize, cities are the same. You know, you are a storyteller, I'm a storyteller. You'll realize that you could easily document a story in, let's say, Nakasero in Kampala, and come and document a story in an estate in Kisumu, which socially is kind of like Nakasero. So if we could even say Munyonyo is like, you know, a place where rich people stay, and then you go to Karen, and then assume you mute your volume and just like display. For somebody who hasn't been to these places, they might think, you know, it's kind of like resonant, because it's just like, oh, you know. But the point I'm making is, there's something about Kisumu which I haven't like put to hand, and I'm not still feeling it, just because I'm still engaging, I'm still interacting, I'm still examining what Kisumu really is. But there's something about Kisumu which you step out and come back and realize that it's very unique in that particular way. You could travel from Nairobi, get to Kisumu, and just by being welcomed by Prince Inda or Tony Nyadundo or Onyi Papaje, you now say, I'm in Kisumu. If you're keen enough and you listen through the breeze, you'll understand, this is now Kisumu. But again, it's in the attitudes, you know, how the Kisumu person will shout, or how the Kisumu person will be arrogant, or how the Kisumu person is going to be nice. Those attitudes, the niceness in Kisumu is very much different from the niceness in Kampala. We might not be polite here. Let me say this, the kindness of the people in Kisumu, it's in a very like subtle way different from the kindness of the people anywhere. So my work is mostly like trying to look at that, like what's the city life, what is it about Kisumu, and how can we intellectually imagine this place.
Amazing. And then also seeing, because even from research, I saw Kisumu and even like Siaya County has like a lot of professors and guys doing like their PhD, like it's the land of like intellectuals. So also reading is like part and parcel of like the culture. So as you even look towards it, like what are the ways that you're looking towards inculcating this and just spreading it across in terms of like the literal perspective?
There's an explanation as to that. So when the missionaries, not really the missionaries, the colonizers, you know, and that includes explorers, missionaries, and whoever they were, their interest was in Uganda, right, when they came in. And so they were just building the railway to allow them access Uganda. And so Kisumu, Siaya, this is like the western region of Kenya, which is like the way that takes you to Uganda. So what they did around that time, they set up like schools, and they set up like mission schools and mission hospitals. So you get to realize, oh, at a very early age, the people around here would go to school. There was Maseno. There were a couple of centers that will allow that happen. So that in a way also as you know, made it possible for you to hear a number of professors being cited from this region. I don't know whether that's still the case, because other regions are also catching up. But goes as it may, it's said the people of Kisumu and people of Siaya are smart. I'm still, again, that's kind of just like a brief history of why or how that could, I mean, the colonizers' effect might have had that implication, right? How to spread the reading culture. Man, it really aches when I get to meet people who are not readers. And it's not, the aching is not about like what they read necessarily. The aching is about, why are you not reading? I'm okay with you like reading food materials. I'm okay with you reading political literature. I'm okay with you reading theological literature. I just want you to read. Because the thinking that reading allows you to have is very different from the thinking that hearsay and gossip and rumors and just like listening to political rhetorics allows you. And I'm not saying they're wrong. Like there are people who are very smart in their own ways. But if there's anything I can do is just like keep talking about the need to read. And part of the reason as to why I'm always mentioning the people I'm reading is to challenge you to go look out who that person is. And maybe if you find anything interesting from there, then you can now start thinking of, hey, where can I get this book? Where can I get this book? Where can I get this book? But there's something you mentioned before we started recording this on like the orality of the African person, right? And how the oral storytelling, or really oral storage of our facts, our science, our knowledges was very imperative in the years past. I don't know what to say about that. I'm just reading, the book I'm reading right now is by this Ivorian writer called Veronique Tadjo. And she's writing her travels through Rwanda immediately after the genocide. And so it's written in kind of vignettes, like segmented. And one of the persons she's meeting as she's traveling is, I don't know, I can't remember the exact thing that happened, but they're having this conversation and the person is asking, so do you really understand the impermanence that oral tradition gives you? Like, I think it's her who's asking this person, like, let me just say this. There's a line in the book that asks about the impermanence of oral tradition, like how it doesn't stay. And I can't make an argument for that. Because I also know that oral tradition was always ours. And it sustained us. And it still sustains us. I don't know about that, but I also know that if this is part of evolution, and the written word is now what is here, then why not like find a way to use it in our oral tradition as well? I can't answer that absolutely, but I know that it's a dilemma that we have to like critically think about.
Yeah.
Masculinity.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. Masculinity. I don't talk much about masculinity, just not for any other reason, but just because I live masculinity in a very individualistic way. Like I can only tell you about the man that is me, right? You ask me about these experiences, and I'll tell you that my way is in this way. I haven't had like strong manly figures in my life for me to tell you that this is how a man should be, this is how they should walk, this is how they should eat. But I've been in spaces where I'm not reminded about being a man. I went to a boys' school, and it was a way of life. I didn't have to step out. I didn't have to wake up every day from the hostel or the dorm and think of myself as a man. Right? Except for those few occasions when you're getting punished and you're being told to man up. But it's different. It's different when I come out here and I'm walking in the streets and I have to think of, you are not just a man, but you're this human with, you know, ugly dreads, and somebody might think of you this way or that way. So the thing about masculinity, I can't say anything about it. I can't explain any further about it. But I also, from reading and from thinking about societies, I've come to understand that the human experience is very limited. It's either you're happy or you're sad. It's either you're joyful or not joyful. It's either you're happy, in between, or not happy. Like the human story is in a very binary way, this way or that way. And maybe part of the reason as to why experimental writings and people speculating a lot in writings is just for us as humans to sort of start imagining of the possibilities that have not yet been achieved in the human and from the human experience. So can you be sinful and still be kind? Can you be godly and still be a murderer? Can you be happy and still be a wife beater and still make it to heaven? All these things, like, it's kind of, you look at the human experience and realize that if we don't imagine more than what is there, and that's why I'm always challenged with people who are pushing boundaries, like guys who are just finding a language for who they are, guys who are like inventing realities of how they want to live. For me, it's just like, it's good for you. Give us a perspective that we haven't seen before. But just like finishing about masculinity, the thing I haven't talked about is masculinity is very flawed, just like humanity is flawed. So the pedestal is always to keep us in check. And I don't think there should be any excitement in the kindness of men. Like, there should not be any celebration, Manu, of you not beating your wife.
Yes. When you came to the defense of a lady who was being done bad, or even maybe like assaulted, or even being like molested, it's also worth bringing forth and also like worth celebrating, because imagine you even went to prison, like for those 2 months, it was just for standing up for what is right and what is morally upright to do as a human. Yet it's just something that we don't see. And then I also like the perspective that you see, because us, when you see like when someone is not being battered, when someone is providing, we clap and celebrate. Yet what you're bringing forth, imagine that's what you're supposed to do. Like, it's the ABC days of working and living and just being a good human. Yeah. Like you're not supposed to, because I was perplexed, like even like being in Kampala, because I was talking with like a few elites, a few ladies who are just doing remarkable things, and then they're like, this guy just slapped me, this guy just beat me, or you meet a guy, or I just slapped her, I just beat her. I'm like, yo, like it's not right. Like someone is like a grown adult. When you have disagreement, you just go your separate ways, we just separate, we just do something. Like you don't have even to like raise your hand on a grown human. Even as like even for the police, or even like any other like intellectual, like there are better ways of correcting a human, because I know humans can be like arrogant, stubborn and things, but as a grown adult, like kuchapa mtu set it to solve anything. In fact, it will even make it worse and even cause like more harm.
And so what you've said, like, doing that is what I'm supposed to do, right? And these are requests I'm making, like even in the title of this episode as you'll be uploading it. I don't want the entire story to be like I was a hero in that time. No, I wasn't. Because again, the way I've told you, masculinity is very flawed. The same to like humanity, right? It's not me being celebrated for the right thing that is worth. It's me fighting against the right thing that is worth. And it's not like even in a way that should have people navel gazing. No, it's just in a way that it's challenge for us to always like speak up against wrong, So like even I don't want it to be like the center of all this conversation, because then it just becomes a title and like it becomes like something about me being celebrated. Because again, in just this understanding this journey, you'll realize that my shortcomings are very, very like there as well. So again, it's in me saying that I could have as well stood up for her and I could have as well gone to prison for her, but I'm out and still I'm capable of being mean to the very lady, right? Like I'm very much capable of still doing harm. So it's just in understanding that this perfection that we keep aspiring to and wanting goodness to be the core and center of our lives, maybe it's a fallacy. Like maybe it's something that we can never achieve. And so what to do is, back to how I told you, I look at sin. If it bothers you, if it disturbs you enough, speak up. And if the risks are worth taking, and if the stakes are too low, then just go for it. What's the worst?
Yeah, amazing. Now, as you wind up, looking into the future, where do we see Mohan? What is Mohan passionate about? And then, as you answer that, also you talk about like what ails you in Kisumu, in Africa, in leadership, and what you lack or would love to see change.
The speech that was read when the fellowship was ending, the journalism fellowship I was telling you about, I wrote it. I wasn't there for the graduation, but it was read out. And how I started the piece is, and ambition will part us, some never to reunite again, right? And when I was writing that, it was just like on this line and this thought that ambitions can very much divide you. The same ambitions that united you can very much divide you. We start out as podcasters, and how far you're willing to go might be different from how far I'm willing to go. And so I opened up with that line and then went on to like mention each and every fellow and like attributing the future I would like for them, basing it off the strength I saw during the fellowship. So for example, I would say Emmanuel will be doing Netflix documentaries and the world will be celebrating him. Like basically it's a future letter that I write on your behalf, but basing it on like your current and the strength I've seen. And the one thing in that speech, as I finish it up, I was like, Akal Mohan, myself, will be touring, will be doing book tours, and also his name will be on bylines from great magazines like, you know, the New York Times and, you know. But what I meant by the lines I had for myself was that me, I'm going into the future, and if the world is to fall apart, may my ability to tell stories only move me forward. Like I just want to tell stories, honestly. I don't, I've lost enough in life, I've failed in life, and I continue to fail. But if there's anything that I just keep hoping that will succeed me is the ability to tell stories. I just want to know how to tell stories and tell them properly. I'm not, I don't think of myself as, you know, this political think tank that will, you know, project what Kisumu would be and what Kenya would be and what Africa would be. I'm not that smart. But in the same breath, I'm also, there's nothing much I can do but just like hope that Kisumu will be better, Kenya will be better, and Africa will be better. There's a renaissance that has happened over the last few years about Africa, and everyone is like celebrating and wanting to associate with the idea that is Africa. And this comes from people wanting to listen to the African music, people wanting to use the African woman as a decor, as in as a model, people wanting to like look at blackness as this something that can be used as aesthetic. But maybe in all that, those people are forgetting that the humanity of Africa is always like toppled over and stepped on. And so going into the future, all I hope for, all I hope for is that the African body is going to be seen as human, the African body is going to be respected. But until then, I'll keep writing about the Kisumu body, I'll keep writing about the Kenyan body, I'll keep writing about the African body.
Amazing. Amazing. What a wonderful way to end this particular episode of Homa Bay Unplugged. Man, Mohan, this was just mind-blowing. Like, you just kept giving names and writers and people. I'm like, yo, I need to go back to school, man. Like, yo. Yeah, it was like super enlightening, super encouraging, and just like a mind-opening and just an intellectual banter that will even take years and ages and times to just debunk and just to have all this. Yeah, and just thanks a lot for giving us your time, giving us your space, and just expanding our intellectualism, because this is the only way we get to learn, by just meeting other people who are enlightened, who are more into books and who are encouraged. And then also just pushing the narrative for like Africa and pushing the narrative for Kenya, pushing the narrative for the world is something in a literal sense worth celebrating. Yes, and it's also good to just also give you your flowers, to just taking your time off and just debunking all this and just passing on, because you don't even know who this will reach. But you even know, like, for centuries, for years, and for months to come, there'll be things worth celebrating. Because as we even talked about Africa like just being oral beings, and then us passing on our knowledge, our intellectualism to the next generation, these are the only ways that we can be able to use. We are able to use like the digital perspective, because in worlds that even things that made Hollywood were because of like their movies, their films, and just documenting the stories and things worth celebrating. So imagine like 10, 100 years to come, like kids will stumble upon this little conversation and even just go back to the writers you are talking about, and then even get more knowledge and to be more intellectually enabled. So it's just something that you're out celebrating, and you're so grateful for this time.
I'm also grateful for this opportunity. Homa Bay Unplugged is doing a good job. Ever since I met you, I've been occasionally popping into your page and listening to what you do. And there's a dire need for spaces for and off conversations, right? People right now, we are looking for rooms where conversations are happening. And maybe it's just our innate yearning for stories, conversations. And so Homa Bay Unplugged is doing that, and we hope you can only grow bigger and bigger.
Thanks a lot, and big shout out to Lolo Bookstore, the Lolo Enterprise, all the writers and all the creatives of Kisumu. It couldn't have been any better. It couldn't have been any other place, just at Homa Bay Unplugged, and we're so grateful for you. Keep posting, keep liking, keep sharing, and let's keep spreading the word. And that's where we end this particular episode.